You're listening to Risk and Resolve, where leadership, business, and risk management collide. We bring you real conversations, sharp insights, and strategies for success. And now for your hosts, Ben Connor and Todd Hufford.
This is a really interesting full circle moment for me. I've delivered this keynote all over the country. I've never delivered this keynote in the room or in the same building where my most embarrassing leadership moment ever happened. My heavy, angry footsteps echoed off the concrete floor as I dramatically stormed out of my team meeting. About 100 yards that way, by the way. And let me tell you, I wish I'd known in advance that the door was 30 feet away. Because by the time I got there, my anger had already devolved into a mixture of shame and embarrassment. Why? Because I wasn't delivering some master class on how to drive team performance. I was delivering a master class on the damage created by unhinged, unregulated leadership. Anyone else ever been there before? Anyone else ever taken a frustrating situation from your team and made it much, much worse by your own reaction? Quick show of hands. Thank you. So there we go. Yes. I also do this in my marriage. So if you're looking for advice, I'm here to help. Now, that moment really served as a warning light for me that when your battery's low and your frustration's high, you find yourself susceptible to have these moments where you're not your best. So what was really going on in this moment here? On the surface, it looked like everything was going great. I was in my first year of leading my first tech startup. We had 25 employees in our first year. We had 100 customers. We'd raised significant venture money. We were in the news constantly. And so on the outside looking in, it looked like everything was going great. But on the inside, I was in the first year leading my first tech startup. My boys were 3 and 4 years old, who are in your school district, by the way, who are now senior in high school. I'd gained 15 pounds, lost my house to a terrible mold issue, wasn't covered by insurance. And so on the outside, it looked like things were going well, but on the inside, I was crumbling. My life was really falling apart. And so that moment really served as a warning light for me. What I've learned is that when your battery's low, frustration's high, that's when you're most susceptible to what I call the tyranny of the now. So I want everybody to take your hand, hold it out like this. Yep, put it right in front of your face. And when I say tyranny of the now, I want to know if you can feel that in your bones as a leader. If you're a leader and something has ever fully hijacked your brain, there's someone right now who can't even hear what I'm saying because they are in the tyranny of the now as we speak. Hijacks your brain where even the simplest of problems feel like mountains over top of you. Have you felt that before? I can't tell you how many CEOs I coach who face the simplest of problems and they just feel stuck. And so we're going to explore this today. A lot of times people, when I talk about this, they're like, this Adam, come on, this only happens to me when I've got a board meeting coming up, or we missed our number, or we face some significant business problem. But it doesn't happen all the time. But there's a reason why when I coach CEOs, I walk into their room and I write in all caps, business is problems. It's such a simple way to demystify what business actually is. Business is simply a series of solving problems. And what's the reward for solving a problem? You get new problems. You get bigger problems. And if you get really good at solving problems, you get multiple hard problems all at the same time. And so if we release ourselves from this mindset that if I could just get through this one problem, everything will be fine, what really is waiting for you is the next problem. Good morning. No, just kidding. There's a thanks, Adam. Great talk. Inspirational. What we want to explore, though, is if business is problems, I think we owe it to ourselves to explore how do we solve problems in a way that we're proud of, in a way that we're healthy and centered and grounded, in a way that we build and lead teams that other people want to follow. Because when you're in the tyranny of the now, or when your battery's low and your frustration's high, this is what a problem feels like as a business leader. You're at the bottom of the mountain, you're looking up, everything feels insurmountable. Have you felt this feeling before? This is not the place you want to be to make and solve problems. So what we're looking for, though, is not bottom of the mountain looking up. We want to be top of the mountain looking out, right? And so this is what we're going to explore today. It's one central question. If business is problems, and we know that the best leaders are able to maintain perspective by staying at the top of the mountain looking out, we're going to answer the question, how do I maintain perspective? So that when I face this series of problems, I myself can do it in a way that is centered and balanced. So each of you have my book on the table. There is a whole chapter on this topic too, so you can go deep on it if you want to. But centeredness is all about building practices in your life that make you sturdy and steady enough to handle the weight of leadership. And leadership is a heavy weight. What I've noticed from the best leaders is they recognize that the role of leadership is either too intoxicating or too stressful for this to happen on its own. It actually takes some level of discipline, some level of commitment or prioritization to make this happen. And so we're going to explore this, but what I've noticed is that the best leaders who implement centeredness practices exhibit exactly the opposite trait of my stomp out moment. They exhibit this, a calm, steady presence. So they can face problems and challenges from that right perspective. Quick show of hands, has anybody ever worked for a leader that has this? Right. What a gift it is when you show up in the room, when you bring something up to them, you know how they're going to respond, and the culture kind of forms around them as well. And what you see when people have this is they're able to see the bigger picture. They can face a problem, but not let it get too large for them. They maintain their rooted perspective. They stay grounded in the storm, and they lead with authenticity. But most importantly, they're predictable in how they show up. And so their teams start to evolve around that level of predictability. I see all the time leaders who sacrifice their very lives in exchange for business success. It's probably some quiet voice inside of their head that whispers something to them like, you're only valued if you accomplish by what you accomplish, or you're only loved if you're successful. And you see them oftentimes thriving at work and failing in their personal life. But if you want to live a centered life, if you want to be a leader that other people want to follow, you must live a meaningful life outside of work. That's friends and family and hobbies and other things that captivate who you are, is all a critical part of what makes you a great leader, of what allows you to not get stuck here. If work is your whole life, you will live in the tyranny of the now. Every whim of the business you will kind of follow into as well. And so how I do this with my clients is I have them all write a personal vision for their life. And of course, we talk about business success and them as a leader. But we also talk about their family and their friends and their hobbies and their pets. How you do this, if you're interested in doing this yourself, you just go, what's today? March 10th. Okay, it's March 10th, 2029, so do 3 years in the future. Write this on a piece of paper, set a timer for 15 minutes, and just write this sentence: I can't believe all that's happened. And write as if it's present tense this day, so 3 years in the future. And what I do with my clients is I have them really write out what their life is actually about. And then I make them read it back to me with passion and conviction. And they are so into it until the moment they get to their kids, and then they just start crying. And if you were in the military and I don't make the rules, you cry twice as hard. I don't know what happens, but I think what it is that, like me, you're fit. Now I'm going to get all emotional in my own talk. I've given this talk 100 times. My son's applying to college right now. So Your 15-year-old's 18 and about to head off to college. Or your 2-year-old is 5 and starting kindergarten. Or you just became a grandparent for the very first time, and you start to realize how incredibly short this journey of life is. And when you have that rooted perspective, you start to realize that the reason that you work so hard is not just for work. It's for the life that is outside of work. And so then the challenge for all of us is to pull that life forward to today. Not to wait for someday. There's not some magical accomplishment that's going to happen in your life that's going to pull that magical life forward for you. I dreamt of that myself when I was building companies. I was like, if I just sell this business, then that will be the day that my life will finally... No, it doesn't happen that way. You have to prioritize and create boundaries in your life. And that's why I put this and honor it. So you define the life you want and honor it. Too many leaders, they just compromise their boundaries constantly until the only boundary they have is that they compromise their boundaries. And so define the life you want and honor it, and find a freaking hobby. Your brain is longing for trivial things to think about, okay? Your brain is looking for a break. This thing right here, give your brain a freaking break. And yes, I put this slide up because I wanted to talk about pickleball. Because I love pickleball. And there's 2 other people in the room here that also love pickleball. I thought I'd see them, like we'd make eye contact, and it's like, I get it, you get it? Yeah. But here's what I love about it. When I'm in it, I'm lost. I am captivated by it. I film myself playing, watch videos of myself playing. If I have a bad day, it ruins my whole day. It's good to have your day ruined by something not work. And I don't care what your hobby is. My brother-in-law's a CEO. His hobby is researching shoes and boots, okay? And I tell you, that guy can go down the deepest of rabbit holes, but man, when he's in it, he is lost, and he's not thinking about the problems of work. And so find a hobby that works for you. It's really cool with these examples I'm about to give of real clients who've implemented these practices in their life. That I'm in Indiana, in Fishers, where you all probably know these people. So if you know John Wexler, who's one of the best entrepreneurs in Indiana, the godfather of Fishers, basically. But what's so cool about working with John, who is as driven and intense and entrepreneurial as they come, is how much his creative hobbies fuel his entrepreneurship. I was just at his house last night, so kind of wild full circle timing. He's got this giant wood shop in his backyard, and he says, I love my wood shop and creating things. I give it my full focus, and it gives me renewed energy and fresh perspective for Spoke Note. How often do we sacrifice our very bodies in exchange for business success? Again, another quiet voice that's whispering to us like, you don't deserve yourself. You only can make time when you accomplish something. The challenge with that is that the best leaders, you actually are a healthy, better leader who makes better decisions when you take care of yourself. And there's 2 really cool things. This is part of the centeredness concept, is we give ourselves 30 minutes every single day to take care of our bodies. And it does 2 things. One is it reminds yourself that your body matters. In the middle of your work, your body still matters. You're not a brain on a stick. And 2, when you prioritize that, it actually helps you with your decision-making and leadership. The science backs it up. So look, you're just following science here. Regular movement boosts problem-solving, decision-making, and cognitive flexibility. I saw this working with Peter Dunn, who's a great entrepreneur here in Indiana, who was working at a really intense pace at a venture-backed tech startup and made a commitment to his prioritizing and dedicating time to his physical health as well. He said, I wanted to stop trying to make optimal decisions with suboptimal physical inputs. I owed it to my coworkers and my investors, my family, and most importantly, to myself. It's this interesting thing that happens. You think that by brute forcing your way through more work, you can solve that tyranny of the now moment. But the reality is, by creating space and margin in your life, you actually change your perspective and start to unlock the very type of leadership that you're trying to get to anyways. There's one main reason why many of you are probably in this room, and that is that you're great at solving problems or spotting problems. Does anyone in here relate to that? Like, if there's one thing I'm confident I'm good at, it's seeing what's wrong. Good? Anybody? Okay, yeah. Which is an awesome skill. It usually gets people into the C-suite. It usually gets people about to this moment. And spotting what's wrong. The challenge is when this is your most dominant skill you have, seeing what's broken, your culture starts to follow that. People just start to, like everything is all about spotting what is wrong. And so if you only take one thing from my talk today, it's that a gratitude practice is probably the most critical part. If you're a person who is really good at spotting problems, it is a great antidote to spotting problems. And the science backs this up. Gratitude activates the dopamine pathways, the same ones tied to motivation and decision making. And leaders that practice gratitude were related as more trustworthy and approachable, critical for psychological safety. Does anybody in here already have a gratitude practice? I'm going to get really practical on how to do this because, also I would love for you to try to take some steps today. Also, my goal is not to give you a giant list of to-dos. My goal is to help you create margin in your life, right? But how you do this, well, here's one simple way. I want everybody to grab your phone right now. No one ever says this in a talk. Get your phone out right now. Open up the Notes app on your phone. And in the Notes app, I want you to create a new page and just write the word gratitude on the top of that page. If you want to be a world-class leader, this is the smallest tip that will make you look so awesome, and it will change your culture, and it will change you as a leader too. Okay, so every day, try to write one thing down on that document. It could be as simple as, Susan really prepped well for that meeting, and it changed the whole outcome. Or, the barista finally didn't put a second B in my last name. Or, I got to spend extra time with my kids today. Whatever it may be, right? Just kind of get in that. It is an atrophied muscle when you're used to scanning for risk and finding problems. It's an atrophied muscle that we're trying to rebuild. And then on Friday, set your alarm for 10 minutes on Friday, or set your calendar for 10 minutes on every single Friday. Pull up that Notes app, and that one comment that was about one of the people that is showing up and stepping up for you, send them a quick text. Hey, Susan, that prep you did for the meeting really changed the way the team felt. Like, it really changed the outcome of that meeting. Two things happen when you do this. The first is that it helps you build the muscle of spotting and seeing what is going well around you. And second, everyone knows when you're frustrated. No one knows how to make you not frustrated. This is how you do that. You show them what your actual bar is, and the culture starts to form around that. They start to get clarity around, so that's what great looks like here. And it is something that is able to be attained. So give it a try. I do this. It's telling that I close every coaching session with my clients. The very last thing I do is, hey, what's one thing in your life you're grateful for? Because we talk about heavy stuff. We're talking about stuff that, it's a confidential, private, one-on-one conversation. They open up to me. And then at the end, I just go, hey, let's get some perspective. What's one thing in your life you're grateful for? Every time it's like this. Adam, I just spent 50 minutes talking about all the bad stuff. Hold on, okay. This is the hardest part, thinking about what's going well. It takes some time to gain that muscle. There's a lot of science behind this. I shared just a little bit about it, but the other way that I do this myself in my own life is I do a gratitude walk. Because I've got a really busy mind. And my mind is just constantly racing all the time. So what I do, this is very simple. It's got twofold benefits too. But I start walking, and for the first 3 minutes of a walk, I just rattle off everything in my life I'm grateful for. Don't stop. We're trying to get to the dopamine pathways that start to change. So I'm thankful for this weather, for that tree, for indoor plumbing, which I am. for refrigeration. All the things, you just kind of keep going. And if you can just get to 3 minutes, you get to that part where your dopamine pathways start to rewire. And when that happens, you'll see that bottom of mountain flips to top of mountain. All of a sudden, I can start to face things that maybe prior I wasn't able to face. Once those 3 minutes are over, keep walking. Don't bring your phone with you. Don't listen to an iPod. I just went, it was the oldest I've ever. Okay, I'm never gonna do that again. No podcasts, no audiobooks, just give yourself some space to think. The amount of clients who've told me once they start practicing this, these impossible problems they couldn't solve, they gave themselves some margin, walked for 25 minutes, and they solved a thing they'd been wrestling with for a year. So 3 minutes of gratitude, and then just walk for a little bit. Create some space and margin in your life so you can start to hear again. This also has a secondary benefit, which is that walking is physical exercise. 10 minutes of brisk walking immediately improves problem solving. And then the last practical practice we're going to talk about is meditation. What's so cool about our society right now is you don't need a guru. You don't have to travel across the world to solve this. You can download the Calm app or Headspace. I use an app called Huff. I did it before I came today. It's great for me. I've got that busy mind. If you heard of Wim Hof breathing is what it is. I can hold my breath for 3.5 minutes, by the way. Fun fact, put that in the bio next time. But the idea is we're constantly ruminating on those problems. Those business is problems things are just constantly going through our head. And what we want to do is kind of create some space where we can look at them in a different way. And that's one of the powerful things about meditation. And I've seen this work out for my clients too. This is Shauna. She's the Chief People Officer of Midland State Bank, which is a bank in Illinois. What started as a 90-second-a-day meditation has turned into a daily practice that is the foundation of my centeredness. This is an executive at a publicly traded bank. It's a high-stress job. And I've seen firsthand how this meditation practice has allowed her to stay grounded and face really challenging situations with perspective. I forgot I had one more. I can't see my next slides. When you live in that tyranny of the now, one of the practices that is such a powerful antidote to that is reading things that are timelessly true. So, because the tyranny of the now makes you think, and I mean, news does not help with this, our 24-hour news cycle. Social media doesn't help with this. I mean, if you scroll on social media for just a little bit, all of a sudden you can get in the tyranny of the now of our culture too. And so reading things timelessly true allow us to get back on the top of that mountain and remind ourselves, this isn't the first time these things have happened. I can regain some level of perspective. This can look like, I don't like to be too prescriptive in what this looks like for you. It can be sacred texts. I read a lot of poetry, so I read like Rumi and Mary Oliver and poetry like that. It's things that kind of tap into your deeper wisdom versus trying to solve it by the tension a lot of business people face is when they face a problem, they go grab a business book, hoping they find the answer to the problem inside of the business book versus finding the answer right here. More tempting, candidly, in our culture today with AI too. Like, what is my very voice? Who am I and what do I stand for? And so why we read sacred or old things is that it reminds us of deeper truths and bigger stories in our lives. So pulling it all together, when we live a life of centeredness, so we live a life that's meaningful outside of work, we've got hobbies that capture our interests, we're prioritizing our physical bodies over our jobs, or we don't sacrifice our bodies for our jobs. We read things that are timelessly true to root ourselves beyond just the here and now. We go on walks, practice meditation or solitude, all these things. And again, this isn't a checklist, because the answer is really for yourself. Like, what creates margin for you? to allow you to listen to yourself? And what allows you to be a calm, steady, grounded presence versus expecting it just to happen organically? That's the big spirit that we're after. You can find this in your own life. But when you do this, what happens is Beethoven, Fifth Symphony, dun, 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 right? Like one of the things I was struck by when I learned about Beethoven is that he wrote all of his best music after he went deaf. So in his 20s, he started losing his hearing. In his 30s, he couldn't perform. But it was in his 40s when he wrote the music that changed music history. He was brilliant in his 20s and 30s, but his music sounded like everyone else. It sounded like his teacher. And so Arthur Brooks has this great quote about it. As his hearing deteriorated, Beethoven was less influenced by the prevailing fashions and more by the musical structures forming inside his own head. The deafness freed him because he no longer had society's soundtrack in his ears. So that's my challenge for you all, is to find that space in your life that allows you to listen back to yourself, that you can lead from that confident, rooted place, and rather than facing problems from the bottom of the mountain looking up, that you can face problems from the top of the mountain looking out. Hope you all have a great day. Thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning in to Risk and Resolve. See you next time.